What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I really want to discuss how inflation is actually going to be impacted by stimulus checks and some form of additional relief. There's a lot of people that keep on asking, is there going to be more relief for the American people due to inflation? And the answer as of right now is yes. There is going to be more relief, but some is coming from Congress. Some is also coming from individual specific states. And this is where one state is now actually going to give a $450 stimulus check to lower income and middle income households. So make sure you stick around for that because we got news on what's going on there. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's continue. So by now I'm sure everybody has seen some states providing additional stimulus. For example, California. This video is not about California. We talked about California last week and the week before. We're actually going to talk about a different state because we have seen multiple states send out some relief. California, yes, they sent out, or they're going to send out, believe sometime by October or in October, up to $1,050 per family. We know Georgia is sending out $500 per married family. We know Maine has sent out about $850 in relief checks. And just the other day, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, he actually announced that he will be using $35.5 million for stimulus checks to help offset the cost of rising inflation. That's the key. The purpose of the $35.5 million is to help offset the cost of rising inflation. Now, this is significant in multiple ways. First, one of the reasons why this is so significant is because Governor Ron DeSantis is actually being considered one of the Republican frontrunners to be nominated for president in 2024. So that's one of the big issues, is guess who he would potentially be up against? Well, if President Biden doesn't decide to rerun, which some are speculating that he does not want to rerun or Democrats do not want him to, if that's the case, one of the people that has the highest likelihood to be considered is the governor out of California. Yeah, Governor Gavin Newsom. The reason why I bring him up is because guess what he did just less than a month ago? He approved a stimulus check of up to $1,050. So, how does the governor out of Florida battle and compete against that? Well, he approves his own stimulus check, but says he's going to offset the cost of rising inflation. Okay, so that's what's going on. That's the back and forth that we're seeing. Again, this is not just about this upcoming midterm election. It's also about the next presidential election in 2024. We still got over 2 years to go for that. But the big news is it is now starting to be more clear as to who potentially could be in the running. So again, it's big news there. The second reason why this announcement is so significant is because people want additional help, right? The purpose behind the $450 checks is to help offset the cost of inflation or rising costs of inflation. This is the reason why so many people are struggling. But he is not the only one that's proposing this. There's another lawmaker who's introducing legislation today to provide additional relief to lower and middle income Americans. This legislation is actually being introduced by Republican Senator Chuck Grassley out of Iowa. And this particular legislation is being called the Family and Community Inflation Relief Act. Now, the way this would work is this particular piece of legislation would adjust the phase-out thresholds or the deductible amounts for several tax credits and also other benefits for families and students. Now, the reason why I really want to touch on this and the reason why Senator Chuck Grassley wants to do this is simple. And he says it's because the current tax provisions that do benefit lower and middle income Americans, they don't actually account for soaring inflation. And they don't. And this is why many lawmakers are actually introducing things like this. Things like inflation checks. We've heard multiple reports over the past 2 months about inflation checks. They've talked about tax credits. They've talked about caps on price hikes, right? We've seen that. We've seen lawmakers start discussing bringing prescription drug prices under review so that they can put a cap on that. Also, not allowing people on Medicare to pay more than $2,000 per year in out-of-pocket expenses. That's huge. This is really big because according to recent reports, the normal or average person on Medicare spends about $6,800 per year. So if they can save $2,000 and bring it down to about $4,800, well, this is going to be a big deal. It's going to save them about $400 per month in out-of-pocket expenses. Again, this is somewhat tackling inflation. But this is also why this stimulus is threatening inflation. Not because inflation is going to go up. Inflation could potentially go down. Now, why is that a problem? Well, if inflation goes down and it suddenly drops, guess what? Those people on Social Security, you would see your cost of living adjustment for 2023 get drastically hit because the cost of living adjustment is factored from Q3, which is the quarter we are currently in right now. Okay? So that's a big deal if we see inflation just drop over the next 3 months. Now, one thing that I want to address, okay, is I want to talk about why lawmakers keep introducing these new things. And the reason why they keep on introducing these new pieces of legislation is because they are saying that inflation is going to come down. Okay, but is it? They believe really that inflation is just going to come tumbling down. The problem is the actions that they are taking speak louder than the words that they're giving us. Because really, if you look at their actions and what they're introducing, it tells me that they believe inflation will take some time to come back down. And because of this, they don't want to wait, and they don't want the American people to wait and suffer while they do. So again, we're going to see what happens. But this is also one of the reasons why California is proposing this up to $1,050 to families in their state. This is why many states are getting guidance as of right now as to where they can spend their pandemic relief funding. And this is also why the Biden administration is still waiting on whether or not to extend the student loan payment pause or simply cancel the debt altogether, because nobody knows what direction to take. But this is why these things that are happening are so significant, because when a Republican governor is going to give us, for us, I don't even live in Florida, but give their residents $450 per child, that's going to be massive. Okay? Are we going to see a little bit of a inflationary pressure, upward pressure because of these payments? Potentially, but it's only $35.5 million. It's not like it's $100 billion. So there will be some upward pressure, but not a lot. As far as stimulus checks around the country, there are still many states that are providing additional stimulus checks. But keep in mind, these are slowly coming out. There's still so many different states that are trying to figure out what would be the best solution for our residents. Is it a stimulus check? Or should we wait, hold off, and see what happens for the rest of 2022 and 2023? That's the expectation, is states just want to wait. So it's crazy what's happening right now, but that is what we know as of today. So as always, as I know more, I promise, I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.